a lot of people might be aware that recently the Supreme Court posted like a stay order on a Sudarshan TV program, which was titled UPSC Jihad. And basically they said, so let me pull up the tweet thread that talks about what are some of the things that the Supreme Court said as to why they had actually put a stay order on this program, UPSC Jihad. So let me share the screen with you guys so you can see it as well. Okay, here it is. So this is Bar and Bench Sudarshan TV hearing to resume. This is Justice Chandrachud.
Expression
अरे इसका expression हमेशा ऐसा ही रहता है 24 घंटे फॉर्म में रहता है. So let me try to get to some of the important ones. You're entitled to make these programs if you feel you have distilled those facts about ZFO and said you are entitled to present it, and OBC, which is a vexed one. Where is it? I think this is a very long thread. Let me try to get to. Yeah, here we go. Here are some of them. Justice Chandrachud said, look at Annexure 1. Your reference is made to Mr. Owaisi. Segment starts with flame in background. Words are used such as Namak Haram, etc. Again, while Muhammad Imran is quoted again, flames are shown. Chart is shown as increase in Muslims from 2011 in UPSC services. Graphic of skull cap, beard, and green skinned person is shown, and again with flames in the chart. See how they are getting foreign funds, enticing our wives and daughters and doing love jihad. Look at the tenor of the statements. Audience says all things which has been elicited by the show. We have no issues with the NGO or sources of funding. The issue is that you implicate a whole community as taking over the civil services. This is the real issue. Whenever you show them joining civil services, you show ISIS. You want to say that Muslims joining civil services is part of a deep-rooted conspiracy. Can the media be allowed to target a whole set of community? And this is a very, very, very important line that the court has put here. Can the media be allowed to target a whole set of communities? According to Justice Chandrachud and the Supreme Court, the answer is no. You're not allowed. That is why the stay order has been placed on Sudarshan TV. Right? Now, this is very important to discuss because talking about slippery slopes, I can't think of much slipperier slopes than this, in all honesty. Because once we start going down this road, things are only going to get terrible from here. There's no way this gets any better. Because, okay, you say, okay, Sudarshan TV has insinuated that Muslims getting into UPSC in far larger numbers is somehow a conspiracy and is some form of jihad. You can say that it is hyperbole and that it is extremely insensitive and that it is wrong. But does Sudarshan TV or doesn't? Do they have the freedom to say this or not? That's the main question here. Because if they do not have the freedom to say this, then we run into a lot of problems. Because we might remember that a couple of years ago, that whole narrative of Lynchistan was all over social media. People were using a study done by an organization who used fudged data, cherry-picked data to paint a narrative that Hindus were walking around India deliberately seeking out Muslims and murdering them. This was the narrative that was being painted. But that narrative was proven to be completely wrong, completely dishonored. That data was completely fudged, and it was fudged to an extent that the bloody fact-checker thing itself was shut down by its parent company. But Supreme Court never came out during those thousands of articles and thousands of videos that were made and written and made about the Lynchistan issue. Supreme Court never came out and said that this should not be allowed because it's targeting a community. Did they ever say it? I don't remember it. 6 months ago, when the whole Supreme Court was talking about, when everybody was writing about how the Delhi riots and the Delhi violence was actually pogroms. It was pogroms, Hindu pogroms aimed at Muslims. When demonstrably it was not the case.
Saffron terror. They created a word, saffron terror.
Saffron terror. When demonstrably it was not the case. Supreme Court never came out and said ki bhaiya inko bhi ban karo, or this should not be allowed to say. Can a news article, can a YouTube video target an entire community like this? The Supreme Court did not say that. The question here is not about who Suresh Chamanke is as a person and what Sudarshan TV publishes, whether Sudarshan TV is a good journalist or not a good journalist. That's not a question here. The question is, do they have the freedom to say this or not? Because if they don't, then you have to say goodbye to Lynchistan. You have to say goodbye to saffron terror. You have to say goodbye to mass murderer Modi, and you have to say goodbye to Delhi pogroms as well. Yes or no?
Yeah, and this is the problem, and that's why I always say, and this is something that I'm sorry to say, nobody, whether it's the left or the non-left in India, does not understand. Free speech is a double-edged sword. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it works against you. That's how the monster is. But look what happened now. You have a news channel that wants to air something, and you have moral policing happening in the country. The biggest problem is you can't define hate speech. How do you define hate speech? Hate speech can't be defined. Like, I hate Tinde. Is that hate speech? I mean, this is the problem. As long as there is no clear-cut call to violence with clear and imminent danger, I'm sorry, you have to take whatever comes. And I don't watch Sudarshan TV. I don't watch any mainstream media. But they have a right. They have a damn right to say what they want to say.
And look, if they're wrong, then come up with the data that proves that without any doubt that Sudarshan TV is wrong, and you disprove them. Like what was done with the Lynchistan narrative, like what was done with the Delhi pogroms narrative, like what was done with the saffron terror narrative. Come out with, opposite data, disprove it, and debunk them. That's what you can do. You can't say ki nahi, band karo. We cannot allow them to speak. I don't think we should be allowed to do that.
Oh, and we need to take this up. So the Supreme Court is thinking to set up a 5 distinguished citizens to regulate the electronic media.
My God,
what probably could go wrong with this? Really, Sham? Huh?
क्या गलत हो सकता है इसमें?
क्या गलत हो सकता है इसमें?
गलत हो सकता है इसमें?
What could go wrong? You know how eminent historians, eminent intellectuals, you know how it is. It's just bullshit, man. It is bullshit. This is my problem with all of this. They don't understand freedom of speech, and I think nobody in India understands freedom of speech. Most people don't get it.
Remember what Supreme Court likes to focus on? कि शादी में खाना कितना खाना allowed है? क्योंकि पटाखे किस समय फोड़ना allowed है?
दही हंडी का वो पिरामिड का हाइट
कितना होना चाहिए?
कितना allowed है? मतलब, see, this is my problem. This is not the job of the court. It is the job of the legislature.
Personal freedom नाम की कोई चीज है कि नहीं है?
And yeah, you can have a larger discussion about the quality of media in India, and we will have a dedicated segment where we'll entertain you with the kind of media we have in this country. That's a separate issue. But no matter what, they can be as silly as they want to. They can be as bigoted as they want to. That is their free speech.
Yep.
That's their free speech. And if you don't understand that, you, my dear friend, are part of a problem. And this is why India struggles with free speech. You have a person criticizing a chief minister of a random state, they will file police cases against them. What is happening in this country? It is becoming unlivable. And then you create a hate mob on social media where everybody lynches you on social media, and then you silence people. This is not how things are done. Free speech is meant for the thing that we don't like to hear.
Yep.
That's the fundamental principle of free speech.
Yep. Same thing. Like, you look at all these stand-up comedians who are making jokes about Hindu gods and goddesses and Hindu culture in general, and when people criticize them on social media, they say, "Look, हमारी freedom of speech पर attack किया जा रहा है. Our freedom of speech is we're being oppressed." Same people are coming in now and saying कि भाई Sudarshan TV is very dangerous. Well done, Supreme Court. Well done. Good job. अरे decide कर लो यार फिर क्या चाहिए? चाहिए कि नहीं चाहिए?
एक minute. Where is it? Okay, yeah, sorry. Sudarshan TV should have come up with some proof. Well, the question comes, if somebody files defamation against them. Has anybody filed any defamation against them? This is how can you air it itself? What nonsense. I'm sorry. I stand for Sudarshan TV's right to say, what they want to say. I don't watch Sudarshan TV, nor am I going to watch it later. I have better things to do in life than watch all these things. But they have a right to say what they want to say.
Yeah.